Some people call this a masterpiece. Some people change the channel the second it starts. It won Best Picture, swept the Oscars, and somehow still divides living rooms to this day. Tonight, we're stepping into the desert with The English Patient.
And now, our feature presentation.
Fussy, who hired this crew?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
Show me the money!
Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Baby, you are so money and you don't even know it.
Yeah, I thought this was good.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Welcome in, everybody, to 52/1996, a live movie conversation podcast where we take a look back in time 30 years ago to the 1996, and we discuss one of the movies, one movie at a time every week. I'm your host, Cody, and I'm joined this week by Ryan. Welcome back, Ryan.
What's up, Cody? What's up, chat?
What's going on? We're breaking down The English Patient. If this is your first time joining us and hanging out, welcome in. The idea is pretty simple. Every week for 52 weeks, we revisit a different movie from the year 1996. We're talking legacy, vibes, awards, performances, trivia, and whether or not it still holds up to this day. And this season, we are doing things kind of how we have been the last few years. Every March, it's Oscar time, and I like to do an Oscar-themed month where I go through the Best Picture nominees. This month's theme is titled "It's an Honor to Even Be Nominated," and we're spotlighting those 1996 movies that were nominated for Best Picture at the 1997 Oscars, and we're starting out the gate with the number one movie of those, The English Patient. So before we get into our scenes and things like that, Ryan, have you watched The English Patient before?
No, I've never seen it. I always heard about it. It was pretty popular in the 90s, so you kind of always heard about it. I feel like back when it was popular to do those when studios would do in the that trailer in movie theaters, when they'd be like, hey, like, look at all our bangers. This is like Miramax did all of this. You remember us, right? Like English Patient would always be up there too. So it was always a known quantity, but I never got around to it until this.
Yeah, I did not. I'm the same way. I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was highly acclaimed. Obviously, it we'll get into the amount of awards that it was nominated for and how many it won. I remember it specifically, and this was in my fun facts, but the only reason I knew anything about The English Patient was because of Seinfeld. And I'm not even a Seinfeld watcher. But there was one whole episode of Seinfeld where Elaine lies to people about having seen The English Patient. Every time she tries to go watch it, she's just like, I can't get through it. It's so boring.
I'm not the biggest Seinfeld fan either, although I caught a lot of it growing up. I don't remember that episode, but I read about it. I kind of want to watch it now. First of all, that's a really good idea for an episode. That's a very Seinfeldian episode,
yes.
Right? The whole world's talking about that movie. I could relate to that when I'm having the same conversation about a movie that's out right now or a TV show or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same conversation over and over again. And I'm having to either yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I thought it was good. Or I have to be honest and say, no, it's trash. And then make everybody around me mad.
Well, I wonder if we'll make people mad today. I'm not sure. I don't know how you felt about it, or we'll see how we feel about it. But yeah, I don't know what I expected. I think because of the desert, I was thinking, kind of in reference to your name, Lawrence of Arabia. I was kind of expecting some epic story that has war in it, and it has love in it, and it's got drama and all this stuff. And I don't know if that's, I think I set myself a little bit too high on those expectations.
Yeah, maybe.
So let's talk about it a little bit more. Let's learn about it, get into our categories, and we'll just, we'll see where we go on this journey into the desert. So anyway, the name of the movie is called The English Patient. It came out November 15th, 1996. It is directed by Anthony Minghella. You probably, or most of you probably know some of his other movies, Talented Mr. Ripley, Cold Mountain, a couple of those out there that are probably on. He didn't do a lot. He actually died like, I don't know, 20 years ago ish, a little less than that, about 18 years ago or so. So only made about 7 or 8 movies, which that's all James Cameron's probably done too. But he works on one movie for 10 years. But yeah, didn't get an opportunity to do many movies. So these 3 were kind of his biggest ones in the way. This was also written by Anthony Minghella, based on the novel by Michael Ondaatje. I learned how to pronounce his name.
Did you learn how to pronounce it? Oh, good job. I was just going to guess. Ondaatje.
Yeah. That's the translation that they gave me. So that's what I'm going with. I slowed it down. I did everything. So I was like, Ondaatje. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. I don't know what that language, it looks like. I don't even know.
He's Canadian, but yeah, I kind of assumed that was like, I don't know. My guess was like Balkan or something. Yeah, I don't know where that name comes from. It's interesting.
But the cast includes some bangers we've got in here. So we've got Ralph Fiennes as Amalshi, Juliette Binoche as Hannah, Willem Dafoe as Caravaggio, Kristen Scott Thomas as Catherine Clifton, Naveen Andrews. We're double dipping on our Naveen Andrews back-to-back weeks as Kip, Colin Firth as Jeffrey Clifton, and Julian Wadham as Maddox. And the synopsis for this movie, if you did not have a chance to watch it: the sweeping expanses of the Sahara are the setting for a passionate love affair in this adaptation of Michael Ondaatje's novel. A badly burned man, Laszlo de Amalshi, is tended to by a nurse Hannah in an Italian monastery near the end of World War II. His past is revealed through flashbacks involving a married English woman and his work mapping the African landscape. Hannah learns to heal her own scars as she helps the dying man. This movie had a budget about 27 to 43 million. I think that additional money there was probably because Miramax was like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to push this out, and this is going to be our Oscar contender this year. And, you know, Weinstein is famous for doing this, and famous for other things as well. But this is kind of his bread and butter from the 90s to the early 2000s and getting his way. Box office worldwide, it made $232 million. It only made 78 domestically, but still, for a movie like this to make $78 million would not happen today. And so this was the number 19 movie of the year. Now, critics loved this movie. They gave it 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, and 3.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Roger Ebert loves this movie. He gave it 4 out of 4 stars. He said, this poetic, evocative film version of the famous novel by Michael Ondaatje circles down through layers of mystery until all the puzzles in the story have been solved and only the great wound of a doomed love remains. It is the kind of movie you can see twice. First for the questions, the second time for the answers. And
I read that review too, and I mean, most of the reviews were pretty friendly that I read, and they kind of said the things that the movie's good for. You know, like I didn't come across much that was very insightful or interesting in the few reviews I read. But I did watch this movie twice today.
Oh wow,
it's a lot. But I didn't remember that part of his review because I do think I enjoyed the second viewing a lot more than the first one.
Okay.
I think that is going in cold. I think it is kind of confusing, and its mistakes are glaring. And when I watched the second time and I kind of knew what was going to happen, I could be okay with that and then understand a little more of like very like muddled plot elements or whatever, and then focus on the stuff that I think people liked about it.
Yeah.
So I agree that it was better on the second watch.
Okay. Now
I wouldn't put it. Roger Ebert seems to say it in that sentence as if it's like a very cool thing about the movie. I think it points to the movie's flaws more than its strengths. That like you got to watch it twice to really kind of appreciate it. But.
Yeah, I don't love a movie like that where you have to go back and unless it's like a puzzle movie. And this movie isn't a puzzle movie.
It feels like one, but it's not.
but it's not.
It's not that kind of movie where you're like, oh, all of the confusing pieces are finally coming together, and it's so cool to see the whole picture. That's not how this works. But it
No.
feels like that because it is a bunch of confusing pieces.
Yeah, the counterpoint review that I found from Jeff Simon of Buffalo News. This is his shout out. Thanks, Jeff. He said, probably untranslatable to the screen. The English Patient is a noble try, but still a bore. So,
I like it.
maybe Jeff only watched it once.
Yep.
Like I said at the top of
IGN review.
the IGN review, yeah. There's some good ones out there. I'm like, I think last week I read one from a couple that was on some like Buddhist website where it was wild. But that was the only like positive review I could find for Kama Sutra.
Oh, for Kama Sutra, that's the only 52/1996 movie I haven't caught up on yet. I did have a double feature of Striptease and Bound the other day, but I haven't got to Kama Sutra yet.
I would have loved it if that's all you did today was just 6 hours English Patient. You woke up really early this morning and just cranked through Bound and Striptease real quick.
As well, yeah. Well, palate cleansers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to know how you feel about those. So this movie, like I said at the top, kind of did sweep the Academy Awards. 12 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor and Best Actress, and Best Supporting Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Original Dramatic Score, and Best Sound. And it won all of those except for Actor, Actress, and Screenplay. Which I thought was pretty interesting.
So it was Kristen Scott Thomas who was nominated for actress.
Mm-hmm. And
you get it.
And Juliette Binoche got Best Supporting Actress, though. She won for that. Which I kind of like. Is she the best? Is Kristen Scott Thomas the best actress in this movie?
Well, I'm going to be interested because I'm going to be doing this whole month of Oscars with you. And the movie next week is a movie I've seen many, many times and we've talked about together on this podcast. But The English Patient and the other 3 movies I've never seen.
Yeah, that's how
I've never seen Jerry Maguire.
You've never seen Jerry Maguire. Wow.
I don't even know what Shine is. Secrets and Lies isn't like a Woody Allen thing, is it?
No, it's a Mike Lee film.
Yeah, I don't think I've never seen any of those movies.
I've never seen Secrets and Lies, and I've never seen Shine either.
Yeah.
And then The English Patient.
That was a huge hit that I missed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So interesting, and I wonder if like they knew, because whenever they're campaigning for Oscars and stuff, they're always like, okay, we'll get the nomination, but who's gonna win in this? And I wonder if like Frances McDormand was such a powerhouse and actress that they were like, Kristen, you're not gonna win, you're gonna get nominated, but we'll put you in Best Actress. We know we can get Juliette Binoche an Oscar win if we put her in Supporting Actress. Because I would argue that she's the best actress in the movie, like if we're talking screen time, that's not always the stipulation for it, but screen time, she was in a majority of the movie and has her own plot and all this other stuff.
And we'll get into that because I think part of the confusing part of this movie is how it chooses to spend its time on characters.
Yeah.
Elevating characters, but then undercutting their stories and then overexposing other characters is kind of interesting. So she's a huge part of this movie. And I think a great actress in this movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're doing spoilers or anything, but does Frances McDormand win the Oscar that year?
Yes. This is Frances McDormand's first Academy Award, I believe.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I think it's a little surprised that Fargo's even nominated, and I think looking back, we might by the end of the month agree that it should win. But it is a bit too post like irony thing for the 90s. And but I know we got to get into it, but we've had this conversation ongoing throughout this whole podcast. And I was having this with some friends last night talking about this movie. When we talk about the 90s, the most popular 90s movies being very anodyne, kind of mildly conservative, mildly spiritual, good for the whole family, not offensive. Boring, sweet. Like stuff like that. That feels like a very 90s type of movie. And the ones that were very successful, like later this year, we're going to talk about things like Michael and Phenomenon, right? Like those stand out to me. And you have like your Forrest Gumps and your Under the Tuscan Sun kind of vibes and these sweeping romances that aren't that brave in any way, but were very pleasant for the entire 90s population. English Patient fits right in with that stuff.
Yeah, I would compare it to things like Dances with Wolves is one
Yeah.
that sticks out to me. Braveheart even has a little bit of that, even though it's more, that one's heavier on like the war
It's
aspect.
got more
of it.
brutal violence for sure. But
Yes.
yeah, it's very timeless and all encompassing for like its story.
Yes, a lot of historical things, not a lot of present day movies that are winning anyway. So yeah, a lot of period pieces when we talk about Best Picture winner. I think that's changed over the years.
Yeah,
I still think there you get your green books, you get your
Yes.
things like that that will
But it was
come out.
specifically a product of the 90s that like this has that feel. And I
Mhm.
agree, we still do get stuff like the Green Book. And I'm always maybe as a movie nerd, I'm always a little eye rolly at those kinds of nominations. But they also maybe I have an anti-nostalgia for growing up around a lot of stuff like this. Like I didn't like Dances with Wolves as a kid, obviously. I don't think I care for it much as an adult, even though people love that movie.
Yeah.
I think that I just was bored too much with this stuff when I was young, and when I see that kind of movie made, I'm bored all over again.
I think with a movie like Dances with Wolves, which I think I didn't understand when I was a kid, the things that I liked about it as a kid were the things that are probably the most problematic about that movie. It's the cowboys and Indians aspect of it all, and I think I was drawn to that, and the fact that Tonka was a word that is a Native American word, and I thought it was hilarious because my trucks were named Tonka trucks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then I mean, going back to those things, like I can appreciate Dances with Wolves now, like which I think is a better movie than The English Patient, for its sweeping vistas, for its slow beat love story. Like that's not a bad thing at all. Like being slow and quiet and simple in your storytelling isn't bad. But the 90s were very I don't know, these were the kinds of movies that you could fill an entire wall of Blockbuster on, and they would all be rented out, you know.
Yeah. And I think that also, like with movies like this, the romance part of it, I think that's a very popular genre that we also don't see. Again, we've talked about it time and time again on here about like these type of Last of the Mohicans kind of fits in this.
Yeah.
Even
You
though
brought
it
up
didn't.
Cold Mountain that Mingala did, and that's a movie I like a lot. But I missed that one when I was like, all right, what do I want to pair this with? Trying to think of movies that are set in war but are about romances more than war. And Cold Mountain starts with as I saw it when I was younger, thinking it was a war movie, and I liked war movies, especially historical ones, like pre-World War II kind of stuff. And it has a crazy opening scene with lots of war in it, and then it's just a slow burn of emotion stuck in the mountains. And I ended up loving that too. But it does, like, he didn't reinvent the wheel. Like, he didn't do something completely new when he made that movie. He had already done that movie in The English Patient a bit, you know?
Right. And it's funny, whenever I think of Cold Mountain, I think of you. You're the friend of mine that like knows that movie, loves that movie, quotes that movie, that famous Renee Zellweger line that I looked for whenever I popped in. I bought the Blu-ray because one of the things that I'm going to try and do is build back up my physical library, and I'm going to get all the Best Picture winners on Blu-ray. So I was like, oh, English Patient, I'll just grab it.
Wait, so Cold Mountain wins the Best Picture?
Does it? 2003?
Maybe not. It's nominated, I think.
It might have been up against Return of the King. That might have been the Return of the King year.
2003. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it might have lost to Return
No, it wasn't even nominated Best Picture, just Best Actor.
That's a bummer.
And Zellweger won Best Supporting, which I like.
Deservedly.
She's great.
Yeah, she's wonderful in that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I associate you with that. And when I was watching the Blu-ray, I was waiting on that line to come up from the.
It's still raining.
It's still raining. I love that scene so much. She's great. That movie's great.
Well, because it's such a slow burn, she explodes into yelling, and that scene was seared in my mind because I do like. We're getting way afield. Like, I'll talk about this actually at the very end. Let me write it down. Anyways, I do like movies that are slow tension, like people trapped in a house or like family problems, but nobody's talking about them, that lead up to a big explosion of emotion. And to bring that back to The English Patient, it does the opposite, where it's so mawkishly constantly giving you emotion for 3 hours that you feel like sucked dry by the end of it, right? Like you feel completely like exhausted with like having to care about all of these feelings, you know?
It does not let up on the melodrama at all, I think, in this movie. So let's talk about it. Let's pick out our favorite scenes and get into some of our categories. So what scenes pop out or define this movie, you think?
Well, you got some pretty important establishing scenes, and it starts with a pretty good premise and an interesting thing. A biplane going through the desert during the North African campaign in World War II, shot down. There's a dead woman's body in the plane, and then a man who's burned all over, and he's recovering with burns all over his face, and has amnesia about who he is. And then comes across a nurse who's also lost a lot of people in the war and has kind of lost her purpose, Hannah, Julia Binoche. Yeah, anyways, and so that kind of sets up the moving action, and it's a pretty good start to a story for sure.
And we get so like everything that you just described, but like the introduction to Hannah and like finding out that, you know, her partner or whatever has died. She finds that out, and then they start moving this English patient down the road, and she's got her little nurse friend who's like, give me some money. And she's like, okay, here's your money, go have fun. And then boom, that girl dies immediately.
Which is like a very jarring, that was a really well-made scene.
Yes, I was not expecting that at all.
This movie starts really good. I do think that when he crashes, like the first shot of the movie where he gets shot down, I think it looks like shit. There were moments, and it's 1996, there were moments, and with their budget and the way they made it, there were moments that look really great in this movie, and there's some that look really bad.
I like what they did in the very beginning, and like because they show you this like painting as the credits are starting, like the painting of the thing, and then the painting of the people like kind of blends into the desert. You see these this biplane in the desert, and like the hills or the dunes of the desert kind of go along with that. And I like that they use the topography of that too, and kind of like the burns on his face. I don't think any of it looks good though.
No, it just doesn't look good. I mean, it doesn't ruin the movie. Yeah. It's 1996. It's not a technical masterpiece, but it starts off looking kind of bad.
Yeah. Which even in when I bought the Blu-ray and like you see a little bit more high definition than the, you know, VHS that's playing behind me, it does. I bet it looks great on VHS. I bet it looks fun.
Yeah.
But when you see all the details and like the makeup that goes into his burned butt face and all that stuff, you're like, ooh, this is.
And then compare that to the Jeep being exploded, which is just filmed through a window behind Hannah's face, not looking at it, and you see it go off, and it's pale gray. It feels very like Band of Brothers, and it's just a practical effect of a Jeep exploding, and it jars you emotionally, but it also like looks really good.
Yeah. And I do love seeing that this is so graphic, but like the body that flies out of the blown up Jeep. I don't know if you got that. It's just a rag doll dummy that they have in there. But I was like, oh my God, there she goes. There's her friend in the air. So yeah, I like that. And then it goes into this scene after we've got all our introduction scenes of everything where Hannah's like, I can't do this. It seems like she needs a break, but she's like, I can't move this patient anymore. So we're going to just stop here. We're going to hold up in this monastery and we're going to chill out there. Yeah. Until he dies, essentially.
Right. He's gonna die. Yeah. She's like, even at one point early on, he's like, why won't you let me die? And he's like, I'm a nurse. Like, she's like, I'm a nurse. I can't do it. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I do. It's kind of like how I breathe. But they end up getting stranded. She ends up saying, like, we can't take care of him. We can't move him around. He's going to die that way. Also, I need a break. They find an abandoned villa because historically, the American forces, when they first got into World War II, pushed, you know, the Nazis, Rommel, out of North Africa and then moved to liberate Italy. So now they're in Italy, and they find an abandoned Italian villa, and she just it's just the two of them in the house at the beginning. Now, I've never read this book. I didn't know it was a book, and I've never come across it. All of 10 minutes of like skimming the Wikipedia article made me understand this movie so much more, and kind of made me understand like where it goes wrong. First of all, Hannah's already a character. This book's a sequel to a previous book.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, she's not the main character of a previous book, but so it's not like you're in the middle of a long ongoing story. It's just more like this author's taking some of his characters and then moving them from book to book in different parts of their lives. Like one thing is that Caravaggio and her like were ex-lovers, you know.
Oh.
So there's a lot going on in the book that makes me understand the themes of this movie and where this movie goes wrong sometimes. But I think the book starts with the four main people in the villa already, and then the flashbacks start happening, and their reactions to everything that happens and him remembering his story or retelling his story, like gives them all their own emotional journey. And then they leave him when he's done talking and have feelings with each other and
Right.
like conversations with each other. And that sounds way more interesting than the way they did it.
Yeah, because and I agree with you, because like there are times in this movie where I'm like, is Caravaggio a bad guy? Like, do I trust this guy? And like, I think that Willem Dafoe kind of weaves in and out of being that just with his acting, but like I was confused when he first came on the scene and was like, I'm from Montreal.
Yeah.
I live 2 doors down from you.
It's when he, I don't think it's Willem Dafoe's fault either. Like the script is confusing when he shows up, and then you get Kip showing up too, and he's a great character. They're both great characters. But if you can imagine, like when I read about the book, the themes are he wanted to write 4 very different people stuck in a villa together, and have all of these differences that are shallow, like blur together in their common humanity and their feelings and their suffering and their loves and all of that. And there are constant conversations about how nationality is not important, boundaries aren't important, maps are lies, we're all closer together than we think, right? And he's doing that in the backdrop of World War II. And by starting that with a kind of like weird motley set of people already in the villa, and you learn about them in bits and pieces, and then they react to each other as they learn about each other, is like a really cool idea. But in the English Patient, is his memory is the thing that's driving all the actions, and they're changing their feelings towards each other. But in this movie, it's a love story where the English Patient gets brought to this villa, and these few little stories kind of happen or don't happen around him.
Yeah.
And that gets confusing.
And I think like Chat's already talking about a couple of things that I think are flawed in this movie. Is like they say, like, does he actually have amnesia? I thought he just wanted to forget, and they don't make that clear. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily needed in the movie for it to work, but like it did feel just weird in the movie, like not knowing whether or not.
The important part of the book is that it's not just him remembering or him occasionally telling Hannah, it's all of them listening to him tell his story.
Yeah.
In bits and pieces, and them reacting to his story. So you never get the really impression in the movie the whole time that every flashback is being said out loud to any of these characters. But that's fundamental to how the characters learn the themes of the book and make their eventual decisions about each other, is like how they feel about his revealing of it, right? And then in the movie, he's just kind of remembering it, and you don't even know if he's remembering it. It just cuts to the past, you know?
Right. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is his interaction with Caravaggio, or Caravaggio having those conversations with Hannah behind the scenes, where he's like, "This guy remembers everything. Ask him who he killed. Ask him all these things." Like, it leads to something that we don't like once we get to the big end with Caravaggio, and like him kind of revealing his last bit of his story to him. Like, it doesn't really have the payoff that I want. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree too. But I mean, but that is kind of like the movie takes a weird way to get there, but then the actual movie is 4 people who are broken in different ways by this big conflict and by personal human ways, are now stuck in this villa together for a while. And one of those people is this amnesiac who's burned all over, who's telling them his story. And that's the set piece. And then most of the movie is flashbacks to his story.
Yeah, it's part of it that I don't love, but what's your, so I had the monastery as kind of my next scene, where she's like kind of making it their home for the next foreseeable future. And these people popping in, and Willem Dafoe with his 4 fingers and eggs and all this stuff, and then Kip showing up out of nowhere to defuse a bomb while she's playing the piano. She has a really great joke in there about Bach, and
yeah, that's pretty good.
So that was my next scene. What's your next?
And I'll say that Italian Villa is a really good set piece. Like it looks good. The way they filmed differently there than in the desert, and it making all of the, we'll talk about how many like cuts back and forth there are in the past and future. Like there's a ton of time cuts in this movie, but it's a really nice visual cue that, hey, you're here in this cool blue, like the kind of dark villa, which has a really cool feeling all of its own. And they explore that space pretty well, versus you're in the Sahara or Cairo where the rest of it takes place. So after that, then like, I guess there's a setup of a beginning of the English Patient story where he is like a stoic and humorless explorer for the British government, and he falls in with this group of map makers who are doing cartography in the desert. And they kind of go off and explore together as a team. And that includes a pilot named Maddox, and a couple, Catherine and Jeffrey. And you get some little bonding moments as they get to know each other, and then move further into the story. And then after that, there's a whole section of scenes that I call falling in love.
Yeah. And like we get the whole cave of like them finding the cave of swimmers section there. And I think that's where we get a lot of like longing looks. I don't really feel like they fall in love because like, I mean, there's some,
I think it takes
there's
a
some
while.
like nagging in there a little bit.
You set it up with like that really good scene where the husband leaves for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he runs after. He's like, "Hey, are you sure? Like, this is a hard place for a woman. You sure you want to leave your wife here?" And he's like, "Why are you so scared of women? Like, she's fine. She knows what she wants." It's a pretty cool scene. So he starts off being like, "I'm not sure I want her around," and you don't know if that's because of I don't know. Maybe he already has feelings for her at that point. He's scared of that because he does seem like a non-relationship kind of guy. Like he's like focused on his studies. He's very serious. He doesn't have social graces. And then there's like a little cute flirting when they're on like a big road trip together. But the cave is a really, really cool and important scene,
right?
Where thematically it introduces this theme of like being permanently connected to every other person through humanity, where they find this beautiful cave where all these cave paintings are. And one of my favorite moments of the whole movie is when like the guy's like, "Oh my God, they're swimming. To I think that's to say this cave painting is so old the Sahara had water around when it was painted, and that brings them together, and that leads into a sandstorm, which makes him and Catherine have to share a tent and like ride the sandstorm out. And I think that's where the love starts happening.
Yeah, I mean, they share that truck. Like they get in the truck because their tents get blown away. They're in that truck cab together, and she is like leaning up against him, and he starts like playing with her hair as they're talking, in their smart ways.
And she finally gets brave enough because she sees there's so many. This movie's so long, and there are these very important details that, and because I pirated it, I didn't have subtitles, and although they're speaking English the whole time. Most of the time, like it's hard to understand certain whispered words because of the sound design and stuff. And so there were sometimes really important lines that I really had to strain to understand what they were saying. But like this is like a very important detail in them falling in love is that she's got paintings. She did sketches of the cave paintings. Once says, "Hey, put this in this book you're always like the scrapbook you're always making." And he's like, "I don't know about that." And then he feels bad and says, "Actually, yeah, I'd love for you to put that in my book." And then she sees like these beautiful poems written to a, mysterious woman that's just like her initial, and kind of realizes that he's writing about her and that he's a deeper, still waters run deep kind of guy. And she kind of starts to fall for that.
I kind of love like the K thing is he's like, "I'm K in your book," right? I like, this is another fun fact that whenever Anthony Minghella was going to make this movie, Kristen Scott Thomas was like, "I'm K in this movie."
Yeah.
In relation to the book and everything. So
that was a clever way to be like, I get it.
I'm getting this movie. Yeah. You're going to put me in this, not Demi Moore. Which was something that they thought the studio wanted to do. Which would have
it was really weird that Catherine wanted to stay for someone who loving water so much. They don't really give her great motivation that like she does convincingly seem to enjoy being there. From the beginning at least, and then through Cairo, she's never like there's one part later on she's like distressed about their relationship. I think she's talking to her husband. She's like, "I want to get out of here. I want to see something green," like she gets sick of it eventually. But I think she's having a fun adventure at the beginning.
Yeah.
But she does talk about loving water like 9 different times, so
so the Desert Storm is the thing that I had picked out. One, we get this,
Desert Storm's a different movie. That's got Ice Cube. It's a Spike Jonze joint. Sorry.
This is they get in that truck accident or whatever. They set up. They have this. It's our first or I guess our second what's going to happen part of this movie because we have the explosion in the first part. But
it's the first action in a while. Yeah.
Yes, it is, and kind of the first holy cow, like the desert is not messing around kind of place to live, because their truck is not necessarily submerged and they get out pretty easily, but the other people who are with them are in a separate truck and they're having to dig them out. They can hear their screams underneath the sand. Most terrifying thing I think I can imagine is being trapped under the sand.
Yeah.
And then them also not being able to get, like, shooting off flares, and the people not seeing their flare and going past and all this stuff. We were like, oh God, this is, when two people are in a dangerous situation or a life-threatening situation, of course they're gonna like fall in love. Look at Speed. That's what happened at the end of Speed.
Well, and I think I missed that part of the movie. It sounds like you were able to like lock in on those things better than me. I think the movie was so glossy that it was hard for me to see these people as in real in these situations actually. It was hard to be scared of the sandstorm, or like some of the directing, like when you see like the trucks fall over or whatever, it's so like realistically shot that does like bring me back into the reality a bit. But everything's so glossy, it feels like a fairy tale. Like, I like myth, right? But earlier in the movie, she's around the campfire, it's her turn to do a talent, and she tells a story like from ancient mythology. And that's how this movie feels to me, where like these characters aren't real full people. Like this could be a story somebody told you about, like, hey, let me tell you a love story, and their names are just man and woman, right? Like, I don't feel connected to the viscerality of their situation. So you're right about the desert being a big theme in the book, I think, and then a theme in the movie as well, and how dangerous and uncontrollable it is. But I felt so separated from the reality of them being there that I was just waiting for the plot to happen with the desert in the background.
I agree with you, because they don't feel real. And even the things that they do outside of the desert and everything, it just these aren't real people to me. They don't act like real people ever, to me.
I agree.
What you have next?
So then a collection of scenes that I called Cairo in Love. So now they're falling in love in the desert, and they spend some amount of time in Cairo. So they're now in the city, but still with lots of sand, lots of sun kind of vibes, and a place not their own. And you have some of the scenes work better than others, but you have some decent like moments of this is a good love story in there. And the difficulties they have getting close to each other or figuring out what's next. Is this a passion, momentary passion, or something deeper? The bathtub scene especially was really good. Yeah, that's what I had next.
The bathtub scene is unique and like pisses me off at the same time, because I am experiencing this love story. Obviously there's an affair going on, so you can't like necessarily root for them really, like in a traditional sense. You're not really rooting for the,
and her husband's pretty rad, and I don't know, like,
I was about to say he's not a bad guy, and like
he's one of the few people in this movie I'd want to hang out with.
2 scenes in a row in this movie, like they're hanging out together, and he's like, tell me something, and she's like, well, I love my husband. And that's when he gets pissed off. He's like, oh, this takes us away from the reality of, or like, this brings us back to reality. We're not in this fantasy land anymore. She does that twice in a row. And I'm like, yeah, Amalshi, come on, man. Like, this ain't it.
Yeah, totally. And I think as much as we just kind of talked about them not being full characters, some of their characterization is a problem. I end up liking her well enough. I think her character is pretty well done. I think she acts it well. I think it's written well. She's interesting enough to be an actual human being, and not just like a cartoon of a person. Not super deep, but good. And a broader conversation we can even get into later is that I don't know how I feel about Ralph Fiennes' performance, because I think it's really well acted, but I don't think it helps the movie.
Yeah, I like him better burnt, I think.
Yes. Yeah, he did great acting.
I think he does a really good job on his back in this movie, and I think that's where his strongest acting comes from. And honestly, I tend to like more of the villa scenes more than the.
I think so too. Yeah,
the other, because I wanted more of the villa scenes. I wanted more of the love story that we don't get any of.
And again, I don't know. I just skimmed the Wikipedia article. It feels like the book is a lot more villa, and we get like 100% of the desert stuff in the movie, and we lose a lot of villa. Which is I think part of a problem for me. But yeah, I think even when it's like before he gets burnt, I think Ralph Fiennes is actually doing really good acting. I just don't know if it's a good character choice, because I never like this person. I don't buy that he's that deep. I find his stiltedness like to be fine in a person, but bad in a romantic lead.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, I
and,
don't believe him as the romantic lead.
and then once he's in love, he's like a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you were saying, like, again, like Kristen Scott Thomas is fine as Catherine. Like Catherine is fine and she's doing her thing. But yeah, it is that like weird beginning we get with Ray Fiennes' character where he is very like, I'm a cartographer. I'm this guy. Like, I believe in these things. Like, yes, you're this academic and all this stuff. And then like all of a sudden he's writing poetry about this girl. Like, it doesn't feel, I don't know. Yes.
And
Whatever.
there's room in this movie to make it better. There's a lot of room in this movie to fix any problem we find in it. So I become a harsher judge of it because I'm like, it's not like you didn't have time to do that better, you know?
Right.
Like, you had plenty of time.
I think Chad even said earlier, it was like, we could have probably done without some of the Caravaggio stuff. Like, we don't really need it. I love Willem Dafoe. I think he's a wonderful actor and is a kind of a fox in this movie, I think.
I think maybe it's just me, and I shouldn't say this on everybody else, but like I think Willem Dafoe's always been a well-liked actor, and we're just now realizing how great he is and how long he's been so great in everything he's in. He's been in some shit movies and been the best part of them many times. He's great in this movie, as confusing as his character is.
Yes,
he's great, and I'm happy when he's on screen because everything's so fucking sleepy and slow that. When he shows up, there's a joke or there's a threat or there's a guy with no thumbs. I'm at least paying attention to something interesting. Great movie.
Caravaggio gave this movie this up. Somebody's talking about the ownership thing. That's during the bathtub scene that you're bringing up. Like he talks about, what do you hate the most? And he says ownership. I hate the thought of being owned. And I was just like, but then he spends the rest of the movie talking about like, that's mine, this is shoulder blades mine. No, I don't want
obligation. He does the obligation line a couple times. Like, well, I was obligated to do this, but then I don't want to be obligated to you, so I won't do that. And then there's nothing revealed about his past where he may have this relationship with commitment or being tied down, or like he may have come from a past that's explained in the book or something where he had to fight to break free to have his own freedom, or something like that. And he's like, I'm gonna stay in the desert alone because nobody was gonna come find me out here and own me, you know. But then it's never that's explained, so it just seems like a dick. He seems like a guy who's just like, I don't want to be too tied down, you know. But he's clearly like fucking deeply in love with her and wants to be tied down.
And I love Ray Fiennes. I think that Ray Fiennes is one of our best actors of the last like 30 years.
Yeah, he's great.
You know, I can list off movies that he was. We did Schindler's List in '93, and he's incredible at being the worst person in that movie. But
he does wildly different roles too, very well.
So, and then among these scenes in Cairo, we get I have it as a Christmas bang. It's at Christmas time, and that's when him and Catherine have sex behind open windows and just in this area. While Colin Firth is just walking around dressed as Santa, where we get a very kind of intense scene, love scene. Like, I feel like that's our most intense love scene in this movie is them banging it out right there. Like, I think that the them in the hotel or whatever hotel room or whatever it is in the tub and everything is good and indicative of their love.
I like
but
hotel and tub scenes, but I guess those are like, it's like all the passion happened off screen and like, and they're just kind of flirting and talking. And then
we get this like passionate scene, and also we get to see like how completely clueless at this point, I think, how clueless her husband is.
Yeah. Well, this movie takes such a long time for them to fall in love, and then such a long time while they're in love. I think the breakup's done really well, but it happens pretty fast. And I don't even know why. I don't even remember. I watched it twice today. I don't remember like what causes them to actually break apart. I guess because the husband finds out and she pulls away.
Yeah, I think just he gets suspicious and pulls away, and I think that's it. Because I don't really think
he acts like he's never been broken up with before. Then he's like, screw you, I hate you. No, I love you. Please don't go away.
Yeah. Oh well. And so what do you have? Do you have anything around that or after that?
The only thing in between, the reason I switched the Cairo in love with Cairo breakup is you do have this side story that's interesting that is Caravaggio's motivation in the story, where he was working for the British and gets caught by Germans.
Mhm.
Or maybe he's working, I don't know, he was working for the Allies, I guess, and got caught by Germans, and has this kind of brutal torture scene where a very confusing scene. A scene that I have like a lot of what the fuck moments just from that scene. But yeah, he's like being told to name names or going to cut his thumbs off. And that comes up later. But then it was like a very stark scene in the middle of all this slow, dreamy love stuff.
And that's when we get like him, Caravaggio confessing and being like, hey, I know you. Here's how I know you. Here's all the bad shit that you did. You gave away the maps to the Axis, and that allowed them to march through allowed Rommel to march through North Africa because he had your maps.
Yeah. And he's basically here for revenge. At some point, he says, I found the guy who cut my thumbs off and killed him. I found the guy who took photos and ID'd me and killed him. Now I'm just looking for the guy who gave the maps to the Germans, and I think that's you. Yeah, but you get to see the torture scene that like sets all that up. And then after the breakup flashback, you back at the villa, you get like a series of scenes that are basically like Kip and Hannah's story. They start falling in love. And then, you know, the war ends. There's like out of nowhere, there's a pretty tense like diffusing a bomb scene.
Yes.
It's there.
That's among some of my other scenes in this. But yeah, and during that, like when Caravaggio confronts him, we get the English patient, we get Amalchi's side of the story, and then like kind of finally like, hey, this is why I gave the maps to the people, because
that story is that Catherine's gone away, he's heartbroken, but he's just going to stay sad in the desert studying his cave. And then his buddy Maddox leaves and has some weird lines, like they're the best friends and he's the most important part of this movie. Basically, randomly, it's so confusing what happens, Cody. All of a sudden, she comes back with her husband in a plane.
Yeah.
Comes back to the cave and starts to land, and he's like, oh, fuck, they're back. That's kind of, I don't know. He didn't say anything about it. He was like, I guess he's excited. And like, she's here, but he's here. What's going on? At least we'll see. And then the husband tries to fly the plane into him, is what the like. Yeah, I mean, that's what Wikipedia said happened. Like,
double murder
suicide.
Yeah.
So I guess she confessed. What you don't ever get, I think, is that I would assume she confessed to her husband that she loved him. And he's like, fine, I'll take you back to him. And then in that moment, that husband became a completely different person and said, I'm going to crash myself and her into him with a plane. And we can all just fucking be dead then.
You know, the classic DMS, double murder suicide. It's
which is not Jeffrey behavior. Like we've
not at all. But
last time we saw him, he was looking sad and confused in a Santa outfit. Like
like, you're pregnant. Great, let's do this.
Wait, was she pregnant?
No, she lies about me, or no, she doesn't lie. She faints, and then everybody's like, "I heard you," or like, "Ooh, you must be pregnant because you fainted in this heat." And then her husband comes out there. He's like, "Hey, I heard you fainted. Are you pregnant? Are we gonna have a kid?" And she's like, "No, we're not. I just fainted to bang somebody. Leave me alone." And
who hasn't?
I don't love any of that scene where he DMSs. You know.
It's dramatic.
It is dramatic, but like he's pulling her out of the plane and he's like, I think your ankle's broke. I think your wrist is broke. And she's like, he screamed, I love you, Catherine, as he was crashing the plane. I think he knows. Like,
oh, I missed that line. Yeah. I remember, I think he knows. I didn't remember that he was screaming that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess like the whole time he was like, well, fair's fair. You fell in love. I'll fly you into the desert to take you back to your boyfriend. First of all, if you get broken up with, don't drive them to their new lover's house. Second of all, if you're breaking up with somebody, don't let the person you just broke up with drive you to your new lover's house. Just like get an Uber. Everybody just needs to get an Uber at this point and go their separate ways.
Especially in an aircraft. Like, why do we got to do this? Like, I know that's how you get into the desert, but don't get in there with you.
1940s, they wouldn't let women fly, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You got to catch a ride. But lucky for him, he sees the plane coming straight at him in the last second and dives out of the way pretty easily. So Jeffrey just kills himself and wounds Catherine. And then you get some like cheesy, but like parts of it convincing, some like the first. honestly, their behavior talks about how much they love each other.
Mm-hmm.
But she says, "I love you. I'm deeply in love with you. That's why I'm here." And then you get this whole long sequence where he's like, "Hey, look, I've opened up all of the cans of beans we have, and I have to walk 3 days in the desert and 3 hours to drive back to get you to save your life. Just portion your beans. I've already opened them all." He says that a bunch of times.
Here's your beans.
Goes to the city, and then he meets British soldiers there, and they're like, "We don't believe you. We think you're a traitor. Fuck you. Who cares about this woman?" Which is weird. It's weird that. I'm not saying horrible people. I'm not saying people don't do horrible things in war, but I don't know what their motivation at this point is.
Yeah, I don't understand why they can't because I think we're forced to believe because his last name is Amalshi, they're like, whoa, that sounds real German to us, buddy. So
yes,
we're not gonna let you go.
So that's the thing I caught in the second thing, and I think it's probably more to the theme of the book, but doesn't make sense if that's hitting the book's themes home. The movie has made us think this is a love story, not a story about how all humans are alike and borders and wars and nations don't matter.
Yeah.
But so that thing happening to him probably makes sense in the plot of the book with those themes. Anyways, yeah, he gets delayed. By the time he finally gets back there, she dead. In order to find after he escapes their custody, he says, and his flashback, he says, well, the English betrayed me, so I betrayed them. I traded all of the cartography maps to the Germans in exchange for a plane to go get her body at that point.
And that's it.
And that's it. Kip leaves, and then Hannah gives Amalshi, at his request, a lethal dose of heroin. And Caravaggio goes, after hearing that story, I guess you're not a monster?
Yeah, I'm not going to kill you. You're going to die anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe that's it, yeah.
Everybody lives happily ever after, or not happily ever after.
That's my theory, is that it was probably only a week, and if she had rationed her beans better.
Yeah, right?
They probably had enough beans. I mean, he was living out there alone, right? They probably had a lot of beans.
She could have, she even said it. I think she wanted to die. She could have dragged herself out there, got some sunlight. I don't know what she died of, to be honest with you.
She was probably like, ooh, beans, and used her thimble full of saffron.
That's what she was using as ink to write that final thing, is the bean juice, just going on there. Who knew that this would be such a bean-heavy movie? I thought it was Spam cans at first, the way that they were shaped. They look like Spam, but...
They might have been. I don't even know that they were beans.
I assume beans. Beans is the best way. Also, how long do we think that they were at the villa?
I don't know.
Because she felt she needed to plant plants and plant vegetables at the villa. So
she has a lot of morphine.
She does have a lot of morphine.
It's crazy that they left her with that much morphine.
And Caravaggio's just picking it too. So she must have even more morphine than we think she does.
Yeah.
For one guy.
Because the English patient's getting morphine constantly because he's burnt up. He's all burnt up, and then Caravaggio is taking over his daily fix. And then at the end, there's still tons of left. But I don't know. I don't know how long they're there. A few weeks at least.
Yeah, I've never done morphine, so who knows? Yeah. Who was your favorite character in this movie, or was there a scene stealer that you wanted to talk about?
Kip.
You love Kip. Yeah,
it was great.
Nah, Naveen, yeah, he's great in this movie. It's crazy because the one movie you haven't watched in Kama Sutra, he is the worst human being possible in that movie. And then he's such a delight in this movie, like somebody that I'm like, yeah, I like that guy. No,
I'll say there is you want to spoil a mild detail about the ending of the book?
No, go for it. I'm never gonna read it.
He at the end of the book, he gets a radio in that they've dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and at some point they're talking about it and they're blown away by the scope of the atomic bombs. And Caravaggio says, yeah, we never would have done that to a white nation. And Kip's like, yeah, you're right. And then he leaves feeling kind of pissed off at all the white people, and he goes back to India and marries and has kids. And but every now and then he thinks of Hannah.
Oh,
but he leaves the plot summary was he leaves feeling estranged from the white people at the villa that he'd grown close to, because as maybe they had this little space where they could just be human together, now the world comes crashing back in. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, at the end of the day, the British are still in my country, and if they want to nuke India, they're going to nuke them just as quick as they were going to nuke Japan. But you're right; they would never have done that to Germany, that kind of thing.
That's typical,
Yeah.
topical. I mean,
But that makes Kip's journey. It makes me want to read this book one day because it makes Kip's character and journey as a minesweeper in an allied, mostly white army with a British occupation kind of thing, way more interesting.
I wanted more of Kip. I wanted more of Kip and Hannah. Like I wanted that storyline much more, and I feel like we get that. And even like, not even as good of movies, we get storyline. Like I think of maybe you watched it last year when we did How to Make an American Quilt.
I missed that one.
But it's the whole, like, that's not a great movie, but the whole time it's told in flashbacks, telling these stories of these women and love that they had or love that didn't work out for them. And throughout the whole thing, you have this other love story that is happening with our main character and another person that is there. And that's kind of how I felt like this should go, but we just didn't get enough of Hannah and Kip. And it kind of disappointed me in this. And then we get a couple, like really intense scenes with Kip. So I do think we missed out on some really, really good stuff.
Again, and even like skimming the book a little bit. I don't know all the changes or anything. Again, I didn't spend that much time doing it, but I did it in between my two viewings. It made me like it made me notice things like his facial expression when he defused the bomb. And there's the victory parade, the VE Day, right? Because Germany surrendered or whatever. And his disassociation with like the danger they were in and his saving all their lives, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, like some of his facial expressions now could mean something to me because I had more of him to know about,
Yeah, I like that whole section there, like the diffusing thing, and then we get like what's his name? I don't even Hardy, I think, like the person that was underneath him like exploding because of the statue, and we get all that like.
And he does have a little bit of like his perspective in the movie where he says like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like that guy never asked me if I knew the Kama Sutra, even because he hadn't seen the movie yet. And and he never asked me if I was good at cricket, right? That guy just treated me like a guy, and I'm fucked up that I'm dying. And Binoche says, like Hannah says, you loved him, like, and that's cool. And then earlier on, he gets like one baller moment to talk about Rudyard Kipling, which I'll go over in quotes, but
I
needs a lot more.
I like that, and I also like the fact that the only time we see Americans in this movie is in that scene where they are celebrating and could cause that bomb to go off, because everything is either you're a British Army person or Italian, German, Canadian.
Two Canadians,
Yes, Canadians is the big thing there. I don't know. There was something I liked about that, and it's something that I felt. I don't know. It was just interesting perspectives from me. That's something that we don't get.
Yeah, you start the movie with Hannah being like, I feel like I'm cursed. I can't do this anymore. And of course, in the book, you get more, and she's in a previous book too. And so you assume that her love affair with Kip has more to do with her trying to feel like she can be connected to anybody anymore. In fact, I think the description of her character on Wikipedia in the book is like, she is so heartbroken by caring about people that she calls every patient buddy and never learns their names and forgets about them as soon as she dies because she can't deal with it. And so that brings more stuff to that day after they sleep together when the guy's like, hey, we got a bomb. And she's like, well, what about like, can you just have a day off? Like, do you really need him? Like, she's trying to keep him in that barn so much, or that church like so hard, because she's like, I'm cursed. If he goes and defuses a bomb right now, right after I fucked him, he's going to die. But that fades away pretty quick in the movie. You just don't get a lot of it.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the most tense moment for me in the whole thing, is the bomb defusal scene. Because I was just like, this guy's going to blow up. And we are just slowly watching him not like fumble around with it, lose the pliers, all this stuff. Hardy screaming at him, screaming at the Americans to stop doing whatever the fuck they're doing.
And it's a pretty on the nose metaphor, right? Like this brown people like fighting in a white man's army, saving their lives, and they don't even notice, and they're too busy like celebrating themselves to like realize it.
Yeah, she's the one that initially stops Hannah from he tries to get her at the beginning of the movie with all the mines on the road and everything. He's the one that is like, hey, stop, and then Hardy comes and helps and grabs the little bracelet or whatever it is.
Yeah,
the thing I like about Kip and Hardy too is that it also, I don't know, it reflects badly on how I think Americans would have been in the war. Even though I know that, you know, Indians were colonized by the British in this, like, he is a Sikh man in an army, and he is above Hardy. He is lieutenant or whatever his rank. He's ranked above Hardy in this,
and he's a sapper. He's a military engineer, so he also is bringing a lot of book smarts to like the situation, a lot of technical ability.
And
it's
I just don't think that
it's got both leadership and like intelligence over the majority of the soldiers you'll come across.
Yeah, and I don't think that exists in World War II, or I mean, it maybe in a little bit with like American soldiers. So it is this unique thing, like, but he has a unique perspective as well, being Indian, being colonized, and, you know, fighting a white man's war against all these people. So I don't know. I agree with you that Kip, we went on a tangent, but like Kip is a great, and Hannah is my favorite character in the whole thing.
Right. I don't love any character that's in the flashback stories, including Ray Fiennes. I like all three of the characters in the villa that aren't part of that story.
Yes. I even like Caravaggio, even though I think he has a very muddled story. I like Caravaggio.
But I like him, and I love Hannah. She's great.
Because there are some really like charming moments with Caravaggio, like when they're dancing and stuff in the villa. Like, I love
he's listening to jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ray Fiennes is trying to troll him or whatever, and he won't let him. He's just like, I'm just listening to the song.
Yeah, I love I love those little things about, like, those details about the Ray Fiennes character is great. Like, he knows he can't remember anything about the war. He can't remember anything about his name, anything. He knows every song.
Yeah. And
he sits there and sings, and he's just like, I don't know. I'm impressed. So I don't know. I like that. Favorite quotes, lines that stuck out to you.
Quotes. Well, the first one I have is the Rudyard Kipling line. You know, he's reading to Ray Fiennes, I assume, in that scene, because Ray can't read himself. But he's reading Kipling, and he's like, you're reading it too fast. You're supposed to read slower when you read Kipling. Like, think of the punctuation. And after he like condescends to him and talked about one of Kipling's lines, that talked about a cannon in a city, I don't know where, I assume India, but Kip mentions it's still there, the cannon outside the museum. It was made of metal cups and bowls taken from every household in the city as a tax, then melted down. Then later they fired that cannon at my people, comma, the natives, full stop. And so like he's not being overly aggressive, which he has a right to be in that situation, but he just has a good burn moment. I liked it.
That's a great one. Great burn moment on the burn guy. I like this. I think this is me like being a bitter old man. But when Amalshi is talking to Hannah, about like Hannah meeting another person from Canada, from Montreal, he's like, why are people always so happy when they collide with someone from the same place? I don't know. I felt like that was such a curmudgeon line that I was like,
it was. And once I like understood the book a little better, that's part of the theme of the book. And then later on, you get him saying to his friend, like, about the war, he's like, we didn't care about that stuff before this war happened. We didn't care about Arabs or Brits or anything. Like, we were just doing our own thing. Now, I do think these are a bunch of like rich, affluent people who are like, man, the war is really ruining my fun adventure in the desert. But it's a theme in the book about like borders not mattering, and it's him saying that at that moment, like, why do you care that he's Canadian? Like, he's a human being.
Yeah. What else?
That one line when Jeffrey kind of shuts down Amalji on behalf of his wife. He says, I've known Catherine since she was 3. We were practically brother and sister before we were man and wife. I think I know what is and what isn't too much for her. I think she know herself. Why are you people so threatened by a woman?
Amalshi, I like this interaction between Amalshi and Catherine. I think it's in the bathtub scene. He says, when were you the most happy? And she says, now. And then he says, when were you the least happy? And she says, now. And I think that's a great way to capture kind of like where she's at. One, she's deeply in love with her husband, but then she's also in love with Amalshi here. And kind of torn between the two, which also leads to her line about like when she's talking to her husband, like, take me away, take me somewhere green, I want to go back. Like, get this conflict out of me. If I'm away from the situation, I won't have to worry about this anymore. But because I'm stuck here in Cairo and I'm surrounded by you guys, this is how I live my life. So
Yeah,
I like that.
that's good. I have Omaji, or it's Hannah reading one of his letters or part of his book. But so she's reading his writing and says, "Betrayals in war are childlike compared with our betrayals during peace. New lovers are nervous and tender, but smash everything, for the heart is an organ of fire."
Yeah.
There, I assume some of this might be the script. I'm not taking it away from the movie, but I assume some of these lines come from the book and probably hit harder in a book than in a movie. But there's some really good lines in this movie.
Apparently, with there was some symbol. Obviously, the fire is a big thing in this. But in like a longer version of this, they have there was like a scene where Amalfi's character is like parachuting into the desert and is like on fire the whole time. I thought that was interesting.
Well, it was due to they said it, they showed it at the end of the movie but cut it out. But it was about the plane crash at the beginning of the movie where she's already dead and like how he gets burnt up. He's just burning as he falls to the ground in the parachute, which is wild.
Yeah. Let's see here. This is when he is kind of getting to know Catherine a little bit, and she's kind of just like annoying him. I think he's already in love with her at this point, but annoyed with that fact because I think she is such a, like, I don't know, educated woman that it is sticking with them. He said, "I once traveled with a guide who was taking me to Faya. He didn't speak for 9 hours. At the end of it, he pointed me at the horizon and said Faya, and said that was a good day."
I love that line. I had
That's
that one
cool.
too.
that
was such a good roast.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. That's the best way to say shut up I've ever heard. I love that line.
What else?
All right, so I'm gonna do the long one at the very end of the movie because it's really good.
It is good.
So it's a bit longer, but this is the last line spoken in the movie. Hannah is killing him, euthanizing him with morphine, and he says, "Read to me," and she reads Catherine's last letter to Amalfi, which I assume she may have written in the cave while she was dying.
Yes, that was the last thing she was writing as the light was going out. And
it's really beautiful writing. She says, "My darling, I'm waiting for you. How long is the day in the dark, or a week? The fire is gone and I'm horribly cold. I really should drag myself outside, but then there'd be the sun. I'm afraid I waste the light on the paintings, not writing these words. We die rich with lovers and tribes, tastes we have swallowed, bodies we've entered and swum up like rivers, fears we've hidden in like this wretched cave. I want all this marked on my body. We are the real countries, not boundaries drawn on maps with the names of powerful men. I know you'll come carry me out to the palace of the winds. That's what I've wanted, to walk in such a place with you, with friends on an earth without maps. The lamp has gone out and I'm writing in the darkness." Pretty killer way to go out.
Yeah. Dang. That's good. That's really good.
It is really good.
What is the thing that I had that I was gonna? Oh, this is an Amalfi line to her. "There is no God, but I hope someone looks after you."
Yeah.
When they're leaving, there is no God, but I hope someone looking.
It's a bad goodbye. That's not a great way to say
it's a
goodbye.
bad. What else you got? Any others?
Not much. It's great. I do like because I found it kind of interesting when he was like losing his mind from them breaking up, going back and forth when he says, "Catherine, I just want you to know I'm not missing you yet," and she's just like, "You will."
Mm-hmm. When he says, "I'm just a bit of toast, my friend."
Yeah.
I also have Hannah saying that, like, Caravaggio, I think, is like, are you in love with him? And she's like, "I'm not in love with him. I'm in love with ghosts." So is he. He's in love with ghosts.
Yeah.
That was good. That was pretty.
That was good.
There's a lot of really good writing in this, but then there's like not put together very well.
Right. It's not good storytelling is a problem.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think the last one I have, it's a funny joke followed by like again like a very cheesy romantic line, but it's powerful in the context of the movie, where he's carrying her from the plane crash at the end, and she says, "You speak so many bloody languages, and you never want to talk." And then he's like, "Oh, you're wearing that thimble I gave you," and she says, "Of course, you idiot. I always wear it. I've always worn it. I've always loved you."
I think that was my last one too.
Yep.
So, All right. Biggest laugh, cry, scare, thrill, biggest emotional impact in the film.
Oh yeah, right after she says "You will miss me," she runs into the strut under the bleacher. Do you remember that?
She runs into the strut.
Yes, they're like under the. All right, so everybody's watching a newsreel about is there going to be
Yes.
war, and they like meet underneath the bleachers, and they're like fighting or whatever, and he goes, I'm not even missing you yet, and she's like, you will, and then she turns to the right and hits her head on a piece of metal, and he goes, and then she shakes it off and goes around the piece of metal and walks away. I was like, what the fuck is going
I
on?
don't remember that.
Like, you can rewind the movie easy enough to that one moment and then ask yourself why that happened. It's really good.
That's crazy. I did not know that. I forgot. I didn't even catch it. We didn't really talk about the church fresco scene.
It's really good.
It is really good, and it's like why I wanted so much more of Kip and Hannah is like he sets up this like police system in there and gives her a light and like allows her to look at the beautiful frescoes in the church, and then they bang after that.
I mean, you can't like he had a lot of riz there. I mean, the whole setup with following the stuff into the church and then doing that. It's really good. I think one of the trivia things is that Juliette Binoche, when she read that scene, was like, I want to do this movie. I want to play this character because of that scene. That was my thrill. I had two thrills. I had that one, and I really think that when they all discover the cave together and they're all just like experiencing it together in awe, I think is really well done.
I had the bomb defusal scene obviously is a thrill. I also had Hardy exploding on VE Day, just randomly because of the statue. Just everything is booby trapped in this film.
Yeah,
and I mean, you probably know more about World War II than I ever will. I was like, was there a lot of was there a lot of mines and bombs and stuff?
I mean, I think there was, but I don't know anything specifically to that degree in cities or in. But I mean, I think that's always been a thing in war. As much as you're willing to follow like war conventions, it's like when you're on your way out, you take everything, you burn everything, and you leave traps everywhere.
Yeah,
and it's more of a war of terror, right? You want to make the other side be scared to take every step or play a piano,
I do love that line whenever she's playing the piano. She's like, it's probably triggered to play something like not Bach. Bach was German, so that's fine.
Oh, safe if you play Bach. He was German. Yeah. And he's like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, never mind. I'm insane.
Any other emotional things?
I didn't cry at all.
Yeah, I didn't cry. I wanted to cry. I was like,
I wanted to cry.
I did. I wanted to cry so hard. I did not. Most WTF were ridiculous moments in the movie.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of them already. I guess I'll spend just a second talking about all the weird things in the torture scene, where the guy talks in German to show that he's German, but then talks maybe for the benefit of us in English, completely unaccented, no German accent.
Yeah,
just American. He just talks American to us. And then at one point, he's clearly ADR'd. At one very emotional point, he's like up in his face, and he's like, "Maybe I should cut your finger off." And it's like a Godzilla movie, and I'm like, "That's horrible." And then they bring that nurse in and make the nurse do it, and I don't know why. And then they're like, "By the way, she's a Muslim. That's also important. She doesn't really look Arab, but whatever, But they bring that nurse in and make her do it, and then she seems pretty okay with doing it, and I'm just confused about the whole scene.
It was a very confusing interrogation scene, and I guess he gave names because he only lost 2 thumbs. So
yeah, they never say that. That was kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe the other people finally stopped him after 2 because they were like, I did like that moment too, where they were. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna cut your fingers off because I don't really give a fuck," and everybody's like, "Geneva Convention, right? Like, I mean, we're not doing that." Like, and he's like, "Yeah, we're doing it." And everybody's like, but it also shows how war crimes happen and become normalized, that he's in charge. He does it. And so even people are clearly uncomfortable with this and think they shouldn't. They just kind of quietly sit there and let it happen.
Yeah. There was a lot of, that was wild. Also, I love that Caravaggio's just like risen up everybody. He has like girls everywhere. There's one scene where they're doing like a walking talk thing, and there are 2 girls along the way that he gives eyes to, and they're like,
that Willem Dafoe BDE, man. He's got that Antichrist dick.
He does have that Antichrist. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Look it up. Google it on your work computers. Also, like the sex that they had on the Christmas Day thing, like that made me just because there's so many windows, like it's just windows everywhere, and they're only on the first floor. Like, how did you not get caught? That I don't know. That one pissed me off a little bit because I was like, you guys are having hot, passionate sex, like 2 doors away from
standing up sex, right?
Yeah, standing up sex. Santa's on his way. It's just not my favorite thing. Oh,
you know what must really piss Santa off when you're on the nice list and then you have to turn naughty and he's already got your fucking toys up he's already got them all loaded up and he's like, all right, I guess I got to take this shit back.
What am I gonna do? Give this to my elves? Like, oh man. Also, what about the throwaway like queer storyline that's in here?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so there's a love story between one of the cartographer guys and one of their helpers. It's what causes the truck wreck in the desert.
Oh, that's right.
And he says a line about like, I don't know, being in love and like it meaning it like not it comes in unexpected ways kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just very throwaway.
Yeah, I think I was confused by that. That's vaguely familiar in my first watch, and I missed it my second. So I don't know what was going on. But it's also weird too that if you're in a 1996 movie about 1940, like you wouldn't expect there to be any queerness at all. But to throw it in and then immediately like throw those guys down a dune car crash.
Yeah, it's like this is how they were flirting, just by like beating on top of the truck and him popping in the window. He's like, "Oh no, I'm gay. Here we go."
Yeah.
We already saw that movie. It's called Crash. Crash is great. DMS. We already talked about the double murder suicide.
Yeah,
I put that in there.
Anything that was my what the fuck. And then there's that one line. I guess it kind of makes sense. He's like, "Well, there's only chickens in Italy and only eggs in Africa." Crazy, right?
Yeah. Where do they come from? Best music moment or score. We talk about Gabriel Yared. Who did the score for this. He also won the Academy Award, so good on him.
I think it was pretty. I mean, I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. A score has to kind of grab me pretty hard for me to pay attention, and I think it was all just pretty adequate. There's good record playing music moments of jazz and show tunes, and then there's him playing that Hungarian folk song was kind of nice.
Yeah, I like Cheek to Cheek. That's always a favorite. I think of Cheek to Cheek more in The Green Mile than I think of anything.
Oh, I haven't seen The Green Mile since I was in high school.
Oh my God, that's a tearjerker just with the Cheek to Cheek song because the John Coffey sings it. Oh my God, it's
sorry, boss.
Sorry, boss. Green Mile rewatch. All right, F, Marry, Kill. We're going to choose 3 characters, and we're going to decide who we're going to F, marry, and kill. We're going to just stick with the 3 men at the villa. Almagi, Burned Up Almagi, Caravaggio, and Kip. I think there's pretty easy answers, but...
All right, so, yeah. I'm fucking Caravaggio, marrying Kip, and killing Almagi.
Yeah.
Let me take this opportunity to also say something else about the movie. In the scene between Caravaggio and Almagi, and he's like... What does he say? He says, like, you gave them those maps and like thousands of people died. And he was like, well, thousands of other people would die. And I'm like, that pissed me off. And I was like, yeah, but now they're dying because of something you did. He's like justifying giving the Germans maps because like it's war. All you war people are so evil. You're gonna kill anyway. So I'm just trying to get to my girlfriend. And then he's like, well, yeah, thousands of other people are going to. I was like, but now you killed them. Now you're the person who is directly responsible for killing them. Like,
yeah,
you could have let thousands of people die and said, I can't do anything about it. What am I supposed to do about it? And not taken part of it. But now you've taken part of it. And then the second after he uses that as a justification, Willem Dafoe goes, well, you know, Maddox shot himself. And he's like, what? Maddox shot himself? Like, because of something I did? And he's like, yeah, man, like you have consequences.
I was so confused by that.
He literally says, what does it matter? You're just mad because they're your people you like versus people you don't like. And then the second somebody he likes dies, he has all these emotions about it.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, you're a villain. I hate you.
I thought it was so confusing, though, because, like, he learns that Maddox shot himself. He's like, because he thought or he was like, because you were the spy, and Omaji goes, he thought I was a spy.
I was like, yeah, you are, bro.
I was like, I mean, maybe not outwardly, but you gave him maps.
Yeah,
because
right.
you
He
needed the
wasn't
planes.
actively a spy the whole time, but maybe Maddox didn't know that. But also,
Yeah.
you assume that Maddox finds out about the maps, and that's why he's like, fuck this shit, man, and then offs himself, which doesn't make a lot of sense for his character because it's
No.
not like they're homies that hard, but the movie wants us to think they are. But I just hated in that moment that he had a justification for it, immediately a bad justification, and then immediately invalidated the argument he just made by like crying when violence happens to somebody he cares about, and not caring earlier when it happened to a bunch of strangers he didn't care about.
I just did not care that he like was a traitor. I don't think there was enough emphasis on that section of it for me. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, whatever, man. Like, I know this is a love story and you're just trying to get back to, like, I just don't care. You never made me care about any of the, like, that was muddy to me, that whole thing. Let's see.
It was muddy.
I assume when Maddox shot himself, it was because he truly thought he was a spy and then thought the government would come after him. Okay. Yeah.
That could be true. Yeah. Because now it's like their whole party is compromised or whatever.
Right.
They're like, well, who was the spy hanging out with? Well, all these people. And that could be true. I mean, there's a lot of witch hunting going on in those situations.
Mhm.
But either way, it's like his actions that killed him. And like, he didn't care when it was thousands of Allied people who died to the Germans, because he was like, well, the Germans just would have died to the Allied people. But now he cares that somebody cared about, like, catches a stray. So,
but I wonder if there's more thought that goes in. Again, I bet the book covers this a lot better. But talking about like people dying and like thousands of people dying in Hiroshima and like on VJ Day, or after VJ or before VJ, obviously, with the nukes that go off in Japan. Like,
right.
I wonder if there's more emphasis put on that. Like, hey, thousands of people lost their life that didn't deserve it, and these bombs. Like, that's more interesting to me.
Yeah, it's like the anti-theme in that moment, because it's supposed to. The theme of the book is about how close you are, and these borders don't matter. In that last thing I read about, like, the last lines in the movie talk about that. But he's kind of saying like, well, it doesn't really matter. Why? I don't care the difference between Germans and Allies, because maps don't matter. So therefore, I don't care which ones I help get killed.
Yeah,
you still helped them get killed, I guess, would be my argument. I was like, I don't care. You're now a part of that. Also, it's a little tough because, I mean, we can make a lot of arguments about it, but like, if you're going to set this in a war to show how like these aristocratic, educated people who are like having a vacation and they're sad that their vacation's being ruined. I mean, they're not having a vacation; they're doing work.
Right.
But they're sad that it's being ruined because of the war. They seem like they're trying to say like, oh my God, these rich, powerful people who countries just go to war all the time, and it's never, innocent people get killed and they don't care. They just want oil. They just want gold. They just want land. But like World War II is like the war where, the Nazis were pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's like the one time like you can, it's harder to make the argument that fuck both sides, Anyways, it was all just messy. But anyways, that's why I would kill him too. I just don't like that guy. He was like, the girlfriend. I love my girlfriend. I don't care. The British were mean to me. I'm going to give the Germans all these maps. I got to get to my dead girlfriend.
Yeah.
In a cave with beans.
What's the theme of the show? Be nice to women. That was not very nice to women.
Not being nice to women.
Completely
missed the point.
All right, who gave the best performance in this movie?
I think Juliette Binoche. What did I write down?
That's who I had. Was Juliette Binoche.
She's great. She's always great.
Yeah, she is great. I wanted to give it to Willem Dafoe, but I was like, your character's too weird, like too all over the place for me to really get into this. Recasting. If you could recast this movie in 96, 2026, who would you cast in the lead roles if the movie were made?
I mean, I eventually got some stuff down, but ain't none of it really good.
Yeah, I get it.
A lot of stuff was like who they were kind of talking to anyway. So in 95, I don't think Ralph Fiennes does bad acting, but I think him being acted by a different person could make it come alive more. So I know Daniel Day-Lewis turned it down. Obviously, he could bring a lot more depth to the character. Richard Dreyfuss, I don't think is a good fit, but he would
No.
have more energy in Riz, which would
Yeah.
make the romance a little brighter.
Did they say Danny DeVito at one point?
No, and my trivia, I think it's because the movie changed studios a couple times, and one of the studios was like, for Caravaggio, we're thinking Danny DeVito, John
That's it.
Goodman, and one other insane person.
That's a movie I want to see, is the Caravaggio Danny DeVito flick. That's why, yeah, that's when it was at Fox, and that's when Fox was like, for this Catherine character, we're thinking Demi Moore, and for this British character, let's go ahead and throw her in there. No,
And coming hot off a striptease, I don't need to see her again for a minute. No, it was Richard Dreyfuss. Or like for Caravaggio, we're thinking Richard Dreyfuss, who I think he could do a good job as Caravaggio, or John Goodman or Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito is not fit for that role. John Goodman, if he did like a little Barton Fink thing, I think could make it work, but it would really stick out in this movie.
Yeah, I don't
It'd
know
be
if I
weird
love
to
that.
see.
He would be a better Hardy than anything, I think. But Daniel Day-Lewis, I don't know. Like, after seeing, I had Daniel Day-Lewis written down to talk about, but I think about him in The Age of Innocence, and like, I didn't love him in The Age of Innocence. He's much better in a movie like Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
In that love story, but like Age of Innocence, I was just
I
like,
don't know his love stories very well because I've never seen Last of the Mohicans, and it's been a long time since I've seen Age of Innocence. I don't think of Phantom Thread, but like he's best when he plays a little freak, like-
yes, and that's what's good about Phantom Thread. He's a little freak in that movie, and that's a good one. Emma Thompson, is she? I mean, I feel like any role that Emma Thompson doesn't have, Kristen Scott Thomas gets like put in there. So
yeah, I mean, I think she'd be great. I can't imagine anybody doing much better with what they're given, with what the character and actress is given. They've talked to Nicole Kidman. I think she would have been good too, but
yeah,
I don't know.
she actually would have been
better.
good. Sophie Marceau as maybe the Juliette Binoche character, just another French actress, basically the same thing. Juliette Binoche is significantly better than Sophie Marceau. If you look her up, you can see all the stuff that she's done. Much different. Anybody for 2026?
Yeah, I was trying to look up British actors too to keep it British.
Yeah,
Andrew Garfield, I think could do Brooding pretty well.
I kind of like that's better than what I had. I had Tom Hiddleston. I like
That makes
yours.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like yours better because Andrew Garfield's a little bit younger than Tom Hiddleston too. So I like.
Yeah,
that.
I think he does Brooding very well. And can throw in a little like likable like shyness, which that character kind of needs because Ray Fiennes is just ultimately too hard of a person to give him sympathy for being kind of off-putting.
Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch might be a good fit for
I
this.
don't think that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he ever done a big romantic
into that like Ray Fiennes role, like whereas Andrew Garfield is a little bit softer.
Yeah.
So
Has Benedict ever done a romance?
Has Benedict
I'm sure he has. And I'm sure he's done like a lot of like BBC kind of adaptation style things.
Yeah. Sherlock.
Yeah.
The Grinch. Yeah, I don't know if he's ever done a romance. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Yeah. None's coming to mind.
No, that's not bad though.
Oh.
Keira
For
Knightley.
her, I did have a good pick for her, I think, because I think my favorite underused actress sometimes is Kelly MacDonald.
Oh, I love Kelly
I
MacDonald.
love her. Why don't I see her all the time?
I don't know. She's wonderful. I love Kelly MacDonald. She's good in everything she shows up in.
Every time. She's so good.
Yeah.
And I think she would make a good Catherine.
There is a rom-com.
Yeah.
There's a rom-com out there that stars Kelly MacDonald. It's got David Tennant in it. And it's about like the celebrity wedding that's happening on this like remote island, British Isle kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she ends up falling in love with, it's called The Decoy Bride. It's so like, it's great. Kelly MacDonald's wonderful in that movie. David Tennant's awesome. It's just a cute little movie.
Yeah.
I had Bill Skarsgård as Caravaggio because he gives me Willem Dafoe vibes.
That's good. I didn't have a Caravaggio. That makes sense though.
So
I mean,
else?
for Kip, like I know it's obvious because he's Indian, but I can't get enough of Dev Patel. He's kind of built for that role. He's vulnerable and strong. He does that really well.
Yeah,
The other one was like Riz Ahmed.
Oh, Riz, man.
'Cause he's kind of a strong, strapping guy and can be a little rough around the edges because those big wet eyes that you want to fall in love with.
I want Riz Ahmed in a lot more stuff. Have you
I
seen
thought it
Sound of
popped
Metal?
off for a minute, but then it kind of slowed down.
Did you ever see Sound of Metal?
I still haven't, but I think I know I'll love it if I ever get around to it.
Sound of Metal is great. Four Lions is great for anybody that has never seen
Yeah.
Four Lions. Four Lions is hilarious. So check that out. I don't even know what my next thing is here. Oh, fun facts. What did you learn about this movie?
Well, you start off because I don't want to read all of these. We're going a little long. Not all of them are that good.
The Germans that shoot at his plane at the beginning of the movie, those are tourists that got pulled into production because they couldn't afford extras. So
That's pretty cool.
that's fun.
I do feel like I feel like maybe part of this movie was like they decided to film everything in the desert first and then everything in Cairo and then did all the villa stuff last and ran out of time and money.
Yeah, I can see that. It's
Although
crazy.
there is a 4-hour cut of this, a 4-hour, 10-minute cut of this movie.
Do you want to see it?
I don't know that I want to see it. I think that it might make this movie better,
Yeah.
but I don't know that it's going to make it good.
I think it would make it better. If I get more Kip and Hannah, I think it makes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Even some of if we get more falling in love scenes, I think I might like it better, and maybe won't be so pissed off that he gives maps to the Germans.
Right. Yeah. If that doesn't sell as good enough, but yeah, the 4-hour, I would watch it actually. I think it'd be interesting if it's out there.
Yeah. Speaking of edited and editing movies, this is the first digitally edited movie to win an Academy Award. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That actually is. It seems kind of small probably when it happened, but now like seeing what digital effects and computer effects have done to the industry or whatever for good and bad, like it's kind of a looking back an important moment.
What else?
Ray Fiennes' burn makeup took 5 hours to apply. More importantly, he insisted that they do full body makeup even when they were only shooting for his face and head. And I don't care if you're a method actor, you're a dick.
Yes, I agree. I think that's so dumb. And I think of Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm like, he probably would have burned himself just to get the look. Like, that's dumb. Come on, man. Don't do that.
That person doesn't get paid more for doing that. Well, maybe they did actually, but like it's still like this is pointless. It's so much work just for you to feel serious.
I also learned that people pretty much got screwed out of this movie because of like they didn't have enough money to make this movie. So like the cast and crew agreed to defer their costs until after the movie got put out. So it cost it $43 million and they deferred until after the film broke even. And so people were receiving money 3 years after the release and others still didn't receive their money at all. And like some of them took them to court and all this other, like it's crazy.
Yeah, I know one of the producers were in court when they died. I didn't read all into that, but I did see there was stuff about it, which is crazy when you have a hit of the decade. I mean, The English Patient was huge.
Yeah, I mean, it made 200 and so many million, whatever, worldwide. You can't pay.
Yeah, that math doesn't math. You gotta show me some of that.
That sounds like some Weinstein stuff there. So
yeah,
fuck them. Anything else?
Ray Fiennes' burn makeup was. I do like this. This is the kind of fart sniffy, like cinema stuff. They wanted to make it look really accurate, but they also wanted it to subtly evoke cartography and maps, since it's such a big theme in the movie. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I did not think they pulled it off, but I like that.
It looks more like Dunes. I connect it more with like the Dunes from like aerial shots.
I think it makes it look more like Dune worms. Made me want to get on top and ride. Anything else?
Let's see. Ray Fiennes, one of his shirts was auctioned off for $2,000, which is just silly.
I would rather have his shorts. Those shorts were hilarious.
It's so funny to see like serious people in shorts.
It's like, let me see those knees and calves, man.
Yeah.
And like just
Abbott the whole movie, you know.
Those are the baddest shorts I've ever seen.
Yeah, because they're desert shorts, right? They're like long to cover your skin and like wide, so you have like airflow, but they look silly.
They did look super silly. And when they're both wearing them, him and Maddox, I'm just like, nope, I'm out.
Bruce Willis was offered the role of Caravaggio, and his agent talked him out of it, and then he fired him after the movie came out. Then I got two more. That's not bad. Juliette Binoche used to let her kid play with her Oscar, and it got all banged up. And in 2005, she sent the Oscar she got for this movie back to the Academy to be touched up and polished. And apparently, every Oscar winner can do that for life.
That's cool. I like that.
Send your trophy back to the Academy, and they're like, "Yeah, well, if you got any scuffs on it, you need it polished or like filled out or anything, we'll do that for you." Which I think
Also, she lets her kid just like play with it.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's a flex. She's like, I got a Palme
Yeah,
d'Or.
here you
Probably.
go.
Like, why don't
Yeah.
we the Oscar?
just take this, kid.
And then finally, I think it's really interesting in the movie. There's over 40 time transitions in this movie. Over 40
Ooh.
times it splits from one time period to another.
No, yeah. I didn't even think about that. This movie won best editing, didn't it?
Yeah. You just yeah, because of the digital thing, yeah.
Whatever.
But there is a quote from the editor who was like, who had done things like he had worked on Apocalypse Now, like, you know, huge projects, and he saw the script and he was like, oh, this is going to be miserable to edit all this stuff together. And then once he got into it, was like, oh wow, this is like really powerful, and it became one of his favorite movies to work on. Once he realized,
I can see where it's a lot of fun, like
yeah,
something challenging like that, especially with all the time transitions. I can see where that's fun. Like a Fine Wine and Dish, if you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would you choose? I think we've named a couple of them, but I'm sure there are some extras.
we talked about Dances with Wolves and Cold Mountain. So romance movies that take place in war, I think there's some good ones. Atonement, I think is good. Casablanca,
Yep.
and From Here to Eternity are all three.
Yeah.
They're all three war movies. Movies about World War II. I think Atonement's about World War II, maybe one. I think two. And they're all about love stories set in there. And I think some of those, Casablanca not as much. From Here to Eternity, Atonement kind of match the feel of this movie as well.
I would say I had Casablanca mostly for the like Ilsa with her husband and like this past relationship with what's his face? I can't think of what Bogart's name is in that movie. It's Mike Laszlo or something.
I was like, Bogey?
Bogey. I also had because I think this movie is kind of a combination, and honestly, probably leaning into the pun intended, the David Lean of it all, with like Lawrence of Arabia and Brief Encounter. Like I think the person,
oh yeah,
like
yeah,
but in here together. Brief Encounter is probably one of my favorite movies that I've seen over the last like 10 years.
I mean, it's always very deeply loved, and I love. I mean, for its problematic aspects, whatever. But like, I love Lawrence of Arabia and I love Dr. Zhivago. So David Lean's very interesting to me.
I've never seen Dr. Zhivago. I watched Lawrence of Arabia when I was doing my, 100 the AFI movies, but I feel like I would like to see Lawrence of Arabia on like a big screen.
It'd be great, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a really beautiful looking movie.
It's an interesting movie. But yeah, I think I'd like to see it on a bigger screen. I don't think I fully gave my attention to it when I watched it.
Lawrence of Arabia, Brief Encounter, English Patient triple feature is that is a sun up to sundown day.
I would definitely watch that.
Yeah.
The Return for Rafe and Juliet side by side again. Oh, I've never seen The Return. I didn't even know that.
Oh, I thought that was.
Oh, that's a new movie. That's about like Odysseus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that came out like last year or the year before, 2024.
Like Penelope or something.
Yeah, it is Odysseus coming back, and she is his wife that he's coming back from. So it's like that section at the end where
all the suitors are there, and she's like doing the loom and untying the loom, and they got a string.
I loved Odysseus stuff when I was a kid, so I think I'd probably be in.
You're a big Wishbone fan.
And I just went to my house this weekend, my mom and dad's house, and I picked up 2 Wishbone books.
Damn, you read them yet?
Which I think are just like short versions of those books with the dog on the cover.
Yeah,
like I haven't read them yet. We'll get there. Prince and the Pauper is one of them. Pauper, P-A-W.
Love it.
All right. So how likely are you to watch this again?
1 out of 5.
Yeah,
I did not enjoy this movie.
I am with you on that. I am not going to rewatch this at all. And you watched it twice, so.
I try to watch every movie twice, but I usually do it like a couple days before the podcast. And today I didn't. So today I just watched it twice.
You're basically Lawrence of Arabia. All right. What did you give it out of 5 stars overall?
All right. So especially on the rewatch, there are good things about this movie. And I could totally understand in 1996 going to the big screen with not a lot as many options of other things to watch, getting caught up in the epic feeling of this movie and walking away being like, oh my God, what a ride. That was so deep and touching. It seems like it wastes a lot of good opportunities and wastes your time a lot. The acting's not that good. The writing's not that good. I don't know. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't think it's a very good movie.
I feel like I was generous because like there were moments that I really liked and there were moments that I was like, I just want more of this. I did think that it was super melodramatic at times. There's a couple of times like before the cave, like when he's got her in his hands and he's like taking her to the cave. I was just like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't believe your romance the whole time, but there is good acting. I love Juliette Binoche in this movie. I love Kip. I love all the Villa scenes. So I gave it a 3. I was a little generous with it.
I can understand a 3. I'm not sure I've given many 2s out. I don't think I've ever given a 1 out in this podcast. I tend to be harsh on movies.
Yeah.
But I also all my opinions kind of push things to the middle as much as I can. And if they resist and they go, no, they can't go higher. You have to, and I was like, I had a conversation with myself that maybe I'm not the best for romance movies or melodrama in general. And I was trying to fight with myself a little bit to see if it earned a better rating. And maybe I just didn't like this movie that much, but I think it's not. I think it's a wasted opportunity, but it came at the right moment and it blew up and everybody loved it.
Yeah. I just think of like, I don't know why. I always go back to Remains of the Day. It was one of the first movies we did on here. And I freaking love Remains of the Day. Good. And it is such a good romance movie centered around World War II. And that movie is so much better in my mind than this movie. And
there are movies I have seen and forgotten that exist since 1996 that are doing all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, it may have been a lot more novelty to it or a rarefied resource to have a big period epic that's a love story with flashbacks back and forth then, but it's not now.
No. Well, Ryan, we did it. Thank you so much again for doing this and doing this Oscar month with me. I'm sure we'll get to the end of the month and we'll rank them. We'll, if we believe that the best picture from this year is in this list, great. If we don't, we can, say that none of these movies are deserving of the award, but I still will ask us to rank them again. But before we wrap up, have you seen anything recently that you'd love to, mention to folks? 1 or 2 things? Yeah.
Not much, not really, because I've been mostly reading and watching Olympic curling until recently. So the only movies I've watched, we've been watching the Traitors TV show.
You're in.
It's pretty good. And I avoid reality pretty staunchly, but I like it a lot. And I caught up on the 52 movies. So that's why the last 3 movies I probably watched were Crash, Bound, and Striptease.
Striptease not that bad, right?
Huh?
Striptease not that bad, right?
Oh, it's not that good either.
Oh no.
Yeah. But no, it's fine. Like Striptease was almost like I don't care that much about it, but I'm happy to have it on. I wasn't upset by it. Bound was a little more frustrating because it had good things and it made me pay more attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was more frustrated with its failings. Also, you had a really hot lesbian thing going on for 45 minutes. And then my girlfriend came out when I was watching that movie. And I know she would have loved all of the first part of the movie, would have been really into it. And she's like, what are you watching? And I was like, oh, it's a steamy like lesbian thing. And they're going to rip off the bad husband. And then she's sat there for like 45 minutes and was like, so where's the other woman? I was like, I don't know. She was the best part of the movie and she's not around anymore.
Oh, man. No, I just love greased up Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds was very funny. I didn't like Burt Reynolds in that. And I kind of want to hate Burt Reynolds because I think he's a dick. So I don't want to be a fanboy of his, but he was really good in that movie.
I brought it up on the podcast, but I was like, he hated his role in Boogie Nights, but loved his role in Striptease, and I don't get it.
I ended up liking it because I think of him as a man who takes himself way too seriously and
is
about it. And so the fact that he was playing that role that way made me like him more.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, if you guys want to keep the conversation going, you want to tell us about what you've been watching, you can join our Discord server. We're dropping some things in there. We're getting caught up on our Oscar movies as the Oscars, the 2026 Oscars are coming up in a couple weeks. So we'd love to talk to you more there. Follow us on Instagram. Check us out on Letterboxd as well. See what we've been watching lately. Next week, we're going to be continuing our theme for Oscar season, dedicated to the films that were nominated for Best Picture at the 1997 Academy Awards. It's an honor to even be nominated. And we're going to be doing next week with Fargo, one that we've seen. So that'll be a good one. Also, a tight 90 minutes, guys.
Oh my
90
gosh,
minutes.
imagine.
I give it the Best Picture just for that.
It honestly, we'll decide at the end of the year. It might be the best picture of 1996 in 90 minutes.
In 90 minutes. It's just amazing. But we'll do that next Sunday live, March 8th at 5 p.m. So thank you all so much for tuning in. See you next time on 52/1996. Hit them with it.
Give women beans.
Give women beans. We'll see
When
you
women
next
ask
time.
for beans, when women ask for beans, give them beans.
Give them beans.
It's nice.
We spun the reel through desert storms and courtroom cries. Love letters burned, planes went down, truth hid behind the lies. From snowbound crimes in Fargo streets to agents running wires, we laughed with Gilmore, screamed in masks lit, theaters on fire. It's 52/1996, let the credits roll tonight. Good movies, bad movies, all of them in the same rewind. 1 year, 1 week, every frame gets its time to shine. We'll see you next story on 52/1996.